Welcome to my best films of the decade list. This is going to be 20 to 21 films that are to me the best of the decade. For one reason or another, and we're going to get into these right now. I have a little sticky note here because these films I do not own yet, and two of these films I don't think will ever get legal physical media releases. And that is The Irishman and Marriage Story. Two of the best films of the entire decade, with some of the best performances I think of the past 20 years. All the way from Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, Ray Romano. Tremendous acting in that. Two films that I will be owning very, very soon. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is currently my favorite movie of the entire year of 2019. And it will remain my favorite film of 2019, so it has to be on this list. And by the way, these are in no particular order, because there's no way that I can do a definitive best of the decade 1 through 20 or 21 list. Or maybe 22. And Joker. Joker is, to me, the best comic book film ever. I like that film a whole lot. It's a film that is very well acted. It's directed very greatly. A tremendous screenplay and score. Todd Phillips should automatically get nominated for Best Actor, or be at least in talks for Best Director at the Academy Awards. I don't know whether he will be, because there's a lot of great directing from what I've heard with films that I have not seen yet. Like, I've not had the chance to see. Well, I do have The Farewell right here, and this will probably be one of my next watches. I have not seen 1917. I have not seen Little Women. I have not seen The Lighthouse. So I'm going to have to get on those as soon as they come out to DVD and Blu-ray. But let's get into the actual films that I have seen. What is this? Okay. So let's get into these. 5 films off the top here. Now, 2 of these films, well, two films in this set, in this video, I'm counting as 1. And that's the Paddington movies. Paddington 1 and 2, I'm counting as 1. I can't choose one over the other. They are both so great. Just charming, funny, and very well done. Paul King did a tremendous job with both writing and directing these films. I can't wait to see if we're going to get a Paddington 3. I think there's been talks that we will get a Paddington 3, and it'll be the final one in the series here, and just make it a trilogy. If the third one is as good, if it's as good, no, not even as good, if it's half as good as what both of these are, it's in talks for potentially one of the best trilogies ever made. I love the Paddington movies. This film right here, a lot of people don't like this movie because they didn't get it. I don't know what there is to get. It's a comedic romance story that is very well done. The Favorite. The Favorite is one of my favorite movies of this decade. Emma Stone deserved the nomination. Olivia Colman deserved the nomination and the win. I still contest. I still say that it was a triple threat. A triple threat lock. You knew that it was either going to be Glenn Close for The Wife, Lady Gaga for A Star Is Born, or Olivia Colman for The Favorite. I was a little surprised when Olivia Colman won for Queen Anne, but not surprised after I watched this film, because I watched this film, I believe I watched this after the Oscars. I might watch this before or after the Oscars. Whenever this came out, and I do say that she deserved the win. I like this film a whole lot. It's definitely one of the best films made this decade from Yorgos Lanthimos. Tremendous. Then we have Silver Linings Playbook. Silver Linings Playbook is a tremendous romantic dramedy. There's comedy in here, but it's mostly a romantic drama with some comedy equals a romantic dramedy. Performances from Jackie Weaver, Chris Tucker, Robert De Niro, Jennifer Lawrence, and Bradley Cooper were all award caliber talents here. We didn't know what Jennifer Lawrence could do yet. I believe this came out around the same time or after The Hunger Games, and Jennifer Lawrence definitely deserved every single thing that she got after this film. It's a tremendous work of film. Great ensemble cast. I love Silver Linings Playbook. Which is why I was really excited, because I believe it's the same director, right? David O. Russell? David O. Russell? Yeah, David O. Russell. Also made American Hustle. Yeah, that rhymes. I like this film a whole lot. I've only seen it a couple of times. I need to watch it multiple times. I only owned it on DVD for the longest time, but I finally own it on Blu-ray. And did it come with the digital? Did it come with the digital? It did not come with the digital. But this film was nominated for Best Picture, I believe the same year as like 12 Years a Slave and Django Unchained. Tremendous year for film right here in 2013. Nothing is wrong with this film whatsoever. There's nothing wrong with this film. It's a perfectly paced, funny, and heartbreaking story with 2 hours and 20 minutes worth of film here for you to enjoy. Okay, let's get back to the video. Sorry, I just needed a drink break. Next up, we have Under the Silver Lake, a tremendous little mystery comedy from A24, from the director and writer of It Follows. That film was a horror film that I only saw this year, and I was so excited to find out that he also made this film. I believe I saw this one first, though. It's a tremendous film. Basically about this guy who sees this woman swimming in his swimming pool, and he goes over to her place, and they agree to meet the very next day because they really start to like each other. But something happens, and he's trying to find out exactly what happens. It's a tremendous film that I love a lot from A24. One of the best films of the entire decade is Under the Silver Lake from David Robert Mitchell. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, one of my favorites. It's funny to no end. Every single time I watch it, I laugh. And every time I watch it, the effects still hold up. It's hard to believe, but this one came out in 2010, and the effects still hold up. You also get Brie Larson and Chris Evans in here, along with Jason Schwartzman, Brendan Routh, Chris Evans, Kieran Culkin, Anna Kendrick. Tremendous little cast here. And Anna Kendrick was just a small little actress when this actually came out, and Michael Cera was on the top of the freaking world with with Superbad and with with Youth and Revolt. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Then he did Year One. We don't need to talk about Year One. It's been a few years since I've seen it, so I decided to buy it for $1 at Dollar Tree and give it another watch to see if it's as bad as I remember it being. So, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is certainly one of the best and one of my favorites of the entire decade. This movie got a lot of hate because of what actually happened in real life and not based on what happened in the movie, which I think is completely wrong. Yes, P.T. Barnum was an abusive ass, but in this film, he was not. You need to either agree with me or disagree with me that the music in this is fantastic. That Hugh Jackman was great, and that you didn't get goosebumps and laugh up a storm in this movie. It's a heartwarming movie with Michelle Williams, Zac Efron, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson. I can't remember her name, but her right there in the purple dress. I love The Greatest Showman. It's one of my favorite musicals of all time. Next up, we have Thoroughbreds, a comedic murder thriller with the actress who is in the running for one of my favorite actresses of all time, or my favorite actress working today, and that is Anya Taylor-Joy. She is closely followed by Saoirse Ronan. No, she closely follows Ronan. There we go. But this film is certainly fantastic. It's one you need to see. If you don't like the film, more power to you. But just respect that I love this film and let me enjoy the film. The Wife is certainly a great film. It's not one that everybody is going to love. It's a film that is basically the ending. It's basically a lot of problems between this wife and husband, all about Joan and Joe Castleman, who go over there so he can accept the Nobel Prize or some sort of prize for writing, but you find out the whole entire time that she was ghost writing his whole entire career and taking credit for it. So that's basically the plot of the film, and there's also some tension with an affair that seemingly happens in this film. Fantastic. Hitchcock, about the making of Psycho. I've talked about this a number of times. It's still fantastic. I watch it every now and again, multiple times a year, and I think I'm going to watch it one more time this decade. Phantom Thread. Reynolds Woodcock meets this woman named Alma, and it's basically their relationship. He's a dressmaker in post-1950s London, and it's just him focusing on dresses, but also trying to keep his woman happy, but doing stupid things along the way. It's very dry humor. It's a very dry dramedy, but it's also about this sadistic pleasure that this woman gets in the film too. It's a great award-winning film. Now, I am still going to say that if this film didn't win Best Costume Design, it would have been a crime against humanity, because, hell, the movie is about a dressmaker. So if it didn't win Best Costume Design at the least, fine. The King's Speech. Of course, I have a stuttering problem, as you guys know, but this film really spoke to me because it's a movie about this prince who's about to become king, and he's going to have to do his first big live speech. And he goes to Jeffrey Rush, a speech therapist, and he tries to help him get rid of his stutter by all these different ways. It's a tremendous film, and no wonder that film won Best Picture, and also won Best Actor, and I think it won Best Director too, didn't it? It's not going to tell me on the back, but it's tremendous. We're down to the last 5. Here we go. Django Unchained. I contest that this film is one of the best films ever made. It is truly engaging how Quentin Tarantino can make a film that's just a group of people sitting down at a dinner table getting ready to eat dinner, but it's just so engaging because of the dialogue, the acting, Oscar caliber everything in this film. I still say that this should have won Best Picture at the Academy Awards, but it's a tremendous film that I love. Jamie Foxx, tremendous. Leonardo DiCaprio, the greatest actor of all time, in my opinion, my favorite actor of all time at no rate. But Quentin Tarantino is one of the best filmmakers that will ever live. He's only done 9 films, and I've only seen a handful of them, but he's one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. He actually made what you guys know is my favorite film of the year, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, with Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, Brad Pitt, and Al Pacino. I love him to no end. Lady Bird. Basically the story about this mother-daughter who don't get along, and the relationships that Christine, or in the film as she wants to be known as Lady Bird, her friendships, her relationships. This also stars Timothy Chalamet, Beanie Feldstein, Lucas Hedges, and Laurie Metcalf. It's a tremendous cast. A24 did a fantastic job with this film. It's one of the best films ever made, and a film that I will watch over and over again. A24, keep cranking out hits like this, and you will win more awards very, very soon. I actually forgot to say this one a bit earlier, but it is the second best comic book film ever made, right behind Joker, and that is Logan. Logan, if you haven't seen Logan, what in the hell are you doing? It's so fantastic. It's so good. It's a hard R X-Men Wolverine film that is entertaining and very well done. It was a film that not only made me bawl my eyes out in theaters, but also showed that Hugh Jackman can be as good as he's ever been in any X-Men film and still deliver a Oscar quality performance. Last 3, here we go. So I guess you could say that these are my top 3 films of the decade, but since I don't own Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, then these are my top 3 films of the decade. My 3 favorite films of the decade are La La Land. La La Land, the musical that I still say should have beat out Moonlight at the Academy Awards. This film did win Best Picture for like 2 or 3 minutes, and I was heartbroken when it lost, but it's all right. La La Land, just because it didn't win Best Picture doesn't mean that it won't live forever in my top favorite films of all time. This is probably number 5 or number 6 film of all time. Tremendous film. La La Land is pure magic with one of the best soundtracks ever. Emma Stone actually got her Academy Award that she deserved for this. Ryan Gosling should have won also, and Damien Chazelle still making good stuff. Don John is number 2. Don John with Joseph Gordon-Levitt writing, directing, and starring in this movie as John, a guy who is addicted to pornography. He meets Barbara Sugarman, played by Scarlett Johansson, and she basically wants him to stop looking at porn, try and get his addiction under control, but it's also the relationship between those two and him wrestling with his not really his addiction, but he's also fighting with his family and with his friends. It's a tremendous film that really speaks to guys and girls in the same way, where a guy can be like, hey, Now, if you are this way, I do not personally watch pornography, but if you watch it, more power to you, dude. Hey, I'm kind of a dick, and to a woman, it can be like, hey, I'm kind of a bitch in some ways, and this film teaches you that in some sort of way. This also teaches John about the power of love, and not only what goes into that, but it also eventually does solve his pornography addiction and makes everything better in his life. And the best film of the entire decade is the Martin Scorsese 2013 3-hour epic-long film, The Wolf of Wall Street. This introduced us to the gorgeous Margot Robbie, who is delivering great performance after great performance with Harley Quinn, Bombshell, I, Tonya, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Even though she was in it for 15 to 20 minutes, she was still tremendous in the film. I love this movie to no end. It's funny. It's engaging. Yes, it's 3 hours, but you feel like it goes by in 1 hour just like that. Just boom, you're already done with the film, or almost done with the film. One of the funniest scenes of all time is him taking the drugs and trying to get back into the car, and he eventually gets home, and he says, well, I thought I made it home all right. Shows how he actually got home. It's tremendous. Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, Jonah Hill, Matthew McConaughey, Rob Reiner. The best film of the entire decade, in my opinion, is The Wolf of Wall Street. One of my favorite films of all time. Probably my second or third favorite film of all time. There is the best films of the decade, and my next video will be Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker movie review, and then a review for The Two Popes from Netflix. I will see you guys in those videos.